There's a lot of streaming services out there, each filled with reality TV, comedy, drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one dedicated entirely to nonfiction TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today.
You can always count on Elmhurst BMW. And right now, during their certified sales event, you can count on terrific savings with remarkable 0.9% financing on Elmhurst BMW's incredible selection of certified BMWs, fully inspected and backed with a factory warranty. You earned it. You deserve it. Elmhurst BMW at 500 West Lake Street or elmhurstbmw.com. On select models to qualified buyers, sale ends September 30th.
Spring cleaning is here. Whether you have a large home renovation or small do-it-yourself project, choose LRS for your waste disposal needs. From big or small dumpsters to portable restrooms, LRS is the perfect solution for your home's next project. See why LRS is your choice for waste and recycling services. With over 1,200 team members, LRS is ready to ensure our community is prepared for any upcoming home renovation project. Contact the LRS team today and request a quote at lrsrecycles.com. LRS, your go-to waste solutions provider.
Moving right through it, we are joined right now by a safety for the Arizona Cardinals. Not just any safety, but a two-time All-Pro, a three-time Pro Bowler, 118 tackles, 2 INTs, 2 sacks, a forced fumble last season. It's all over the field. He was an All-American and a 2-time first-team All-Conference player in college. He was the 36th pick overall in 2017 out of Washington. Arizona is opening up at Tennessee on Sunday. That is a CBS game. Budda Baker is my guest. Budda, it's great to have you on. How are you?
Hey, Jim. How you doing? I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Dude, so good. So good. And it's great to have you back. I appreciate it. So, Budda, if the fans are losing their minds over the start of the NFL season and the weekend, how fired up are you as a player right now? And how eager are you to get back on the football field and play some meaningful games once again and do so in front of the fans?
Yeah, exactly like you said. I'm so eager. Just watching last night's game just got me even more excited. Having the fans back is going to be so great. I'm excited, and I can't wait to, head out to Tennessee.
Yeah, I mentioned some of the numbers at the top, Budda, but you were the top safety as well in NFL Network's top 100 players. I know you're not focused on that, but what's it mean to you to know that you have earned that kind of respect from people around the league?
Yeah, it's definitely cool for me, especially from guys across the league who play the same position as me and who think highly of me. It's definitely a blessing, and for me, I just take it one day at a time, 1 year at a time, 1 week at a time, in a sense. So last year was fine and dandy, and it was great, but I'm just trying to get better as a teammate to make this whole team better, and ultimately get to that final playoff and all that type of stuff all the good things happen. So right now that was all cool. It was a blessing to see that. It was cool, and I'm just excited for this year and to get ready for the Tennessee Titans.
We're talking to Budda Baker. You mentioned that you're just trying to get better as a teammate, and I know what you mean by that. You're talking about leadership, and we'll get there in a minute. But in terms of the offseason, I loved what you said about your mentality. You said it's always, quote, me versus me. What are the things that you worked on in the offseason? And when you're kind of in that mental war with yourself and that physical war with yourself, how does that play out over the course in any day, me versus me? What's that look like and feel like?
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, for me, I take it apart as everything. Everything's not just football. When I talk about me versus me, I'm talking about me versus, on the football field, off the football field, towards my family, towards my friends, to my pregnant girlfriend. Me versus me is just trying to be the best version of me through all of those things, all of those subjects each and every day. And of course, right after the season, you get your rest, you hang out with your family, and have great times with them. But then getting back to work, whether it's riding a bike or eating right, eating healthier. All those little intricate things that, kind of people take for granted, I don't take for granted, and I just try to get better at all those things. So that definitely helps me out and rejuvenates me to get ready for each season, each and every year.
Dude, I love that answer so much. Let me ask you this. When you're thinking about all these things, Buddha, like you want to be great at everything, I have to think that so much has to do with being present, right? Because if you're thinking about all these things, you can get overwhelmed by all these things. How important is it to, quote, be where your feet are and compartmentalize and just lock in on that one thing that's right in front of you in that moment?
Exactly. It's very important. It's so important each and every day, whether you're at work and you might have some things going on at home, but you definitely have to be where your feet are. Focus on the things that you have to do at work, being a better teammate, knowing your job, and also just knowing everyone's job and just holding yourself accountable, but holding other guys accountable as well. And when you're at home, you be where your feet are. You still, for me, especially during the season, you're still going to have that time to watch film when you're at home and do all those things. But for me, the first thing I get home and do is try to give the family some time before I start going, back on football. So, like you said, be where your feet are. I love that saying. That's what I say a lot, and that's how I try to approach each day.
Buddha Baker is joining us. You mentioned accountability. I was going to go there next. There is this thing also, and I'm sure you'd agree, Buddha, the standard is the standard, right? And I bring this up because a few weeks back, you were talking about your approach to leadership, and you were saying, like, you feel like this is a year where you should be making sure that you're talking to guys and, quote, not letting average stuff go. End of quote.
Exactly.
It's clear how much your teammates respect you. So how do you go about setting the tone and making sure that they know that average is not good enough or that even good is not good enough?
Yeah. You like to think that, guys already have that knowledge that average isn't good enough. But then again, in the beginning of the year, beginning of camp, I always try to, what I've tried to do is try to inherit that into, other people, just to start off that, like, holding yourself accountable, doing all the things that you have to do and within your job first before you get in and talk to other people. So for me, it's know your job, know what you have to do first and foremost. This is a do your job league. And then after that, for me, the blessing to be here, 5 years and to understand this defense. This defense is going to be my third year being in this defense. So I'm able to know a lot of things about, the defense. And, I might know the safeties, corners, linebackers, and, D-line. So I can help other guys and do all that type of stuff. So for me, it's just to be an open book for players, be an open book for anyone, and ask questions. No questions are dumb questions. And just make sure you know what your job is, do your job, and if everyone can do that, then, we'll be a great team.
See, Buddha, you sound the way you sound because you should. After all, like, dude, you're 35 and you've been in the league 15 years. Oh, wait, no, you're not. You're 25. You just turned 25. I love that, like, you're 25 and you're talking about the young guys and how they should be coached when people would normally say that about a guy who's 25, but you obviously don't sound like it and don't carry yourself like it, and now guys turn to you. When you first came in, who were some of the guys that took you under their wing that you learned from?
Yeah, when I first came in, it was, a lot of vets were there. It was Tyrann Mathieu, Antoine Lethea, Tyvon Branch, of course, cornerbacks, Pat P. So especially being in that safeties room, it was definitely good to understand and, ask questions to these players that I can talk to. And then if they don't have the answers, which 9 times out of 10 they did, I would have to go to the coach. So just having that camaraderie to be able to ask your players certain questions about defenses and little, intricate things within the defense and what their offense is trying to do to us in this call versus this call, that definitely helped me a lot. And, going to University of Washington, Jimmy Lake had us dialed in a lot. We played kind of like an NFL-type style defense. So going into the league at BA at the time in that defense, it was very similar, so it was definitely kind of easier for me to understand. And then if I had questions, I could easily go to those vets and ask those questions. So now me being the older person, the older guy, any guys can come up to me and ask me any type of questions. But the funny question is always when they ask me how old I am and I tell them my age, they're like, "Dang, Well, you're only a year older than me.
Right.
So,
that's what I'm laughing
that's
at.
Definitely funny, but as long as I can be for any help, I'm definitely always dialed in to help any of my, of course, DBs and safeties.
Because you're a pro, dude. That's why at 25, nobody can believe that you're a year older than them. That's why I kind of set that up like that. I know you're focused on this game and your situation. I just kind of want to ask you one quick follow-up on Tyrann Mathieu, because I haven't spoken to him in a few years, Buddha, and I cannot tell you how much I respect this guy, how much I admire this guy, what he's been through, what he's overcome, the player he's made himself, the kind of leader he is, how unbelievably cerebral he is and smart on the field. I just think the guy's an outlier, like a really different guy. Do you see him the same way, or am I off base on that?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely see him the same way. Guy who going to Houston and after being with the Cardinals for so long, being a team leader for the Cardinals, and then going to Houston for 1 year and already being a team captain, and then going to Kansas City Chiefs and still doing the things that Tyrann does, making plays, getting INTs, sacks, tackles, TFLs, doing all the good things that a safety, a DB can do. So I think of Tyrann, the utmost regard, and me going into the league, trying to compare myself to anyone, there wasn't really anyone that I could compare myself to, because, there was the safeties that, played majority in the post, or safeties who played majority in the box, or a nickel who, played on the slot receivers. But with Tyrann, he did all of those things. So that was a guy who I definitely similar in my game after, for sure.
Buddha Baker joining me for another moment or so. So, Buddha, obviously you're in this meat grinder of a division where you've got excellent teams, you've got great quarterbacks. As a defensive player, you get to go up against some of the best in the league. I've heard you say that Russell Wilson is the most challenging quarterback in the league to face. What is it that makes him so tough to stop, and why is he different than the rest?
What makes him so tough to stop is the way he can hold the ball and just not get sacked, and he knows what the offense is doing. They have a very good, once their route concepts are done, they just, the wide receivers start running everywhere, and Russell just seems like he knows where they're going. So the scrambling quarterback, especially being a safety, a scrambling quarterback is so hard, because he can be running for 6, 7, 8 seconds, and we're covering for all that time, and next thing you know, the wide receiver breaks back up, and Russell just throws a dime to him. So he's so hard to go against, because we're going to be covering for at least 6 or 7 plus seconds each and every time he throws the ball. So being a safety is definitely hard.
All right, so Buddha, what about the Titans? You've got them in their place on Sunday. From a defensive standpoint, what is the key to stopping them? Is it all about the big dude, Derrick Henry?
First and foremost, of course. I mean, it's always about stopping the run, because if you can't stop the run, they're going to just keep on running it, play action pass where they do, where they're at their best. And, that's definitely going to be a hard situation if they're in third and shorts each and every, third down, because they can either run it or they can pass it. When you watch film last year, the teams that got up on them, they were able to stop the run early, force them to, have to throw the ball. So then the play action pass wasn't as good, because they were already stopping the run. So first and foremost, it's always about stopping the run. With any team in the NFL, you got to stop the run, because if not, 9 times out of 10, teams are just going to keep running and keep gassing you. And that's very demoralizing for a defense.
Yeah, no doubt. Dude, you've been so great with your time. I've got one last question, if you don't mind. Your process is, you're so consistent day in and day out. And what I mean by this, Cliff Kingsbury said the other day that he's not that concerned about, or he's not bothered by the pressure of having to make the playoffs, because as he points out, when you've been fired as the head coach of your alma mater, not much phases you after that. It's a great line. I'm curious how you deal with the expectations. Are you going to treat this season like any other season, or because of these added expectations, can you pull a little bit of fuel out of that?
Yeah, I mean, like we said when we started, Jim, it's me versus me, and that's how I think each and every season. And for me, it's like, you dream of things into fruition. You think of things into existence. So the things that I've done in the past, I've already dreamed those things. I've already seen those things happen in my head. So it wasn't something that was, surprising. So it's not something that I'm going to get high emotioned over or feel a type of way over. I've already seen these things in my mind, and now it's just another year to get better to what I was last year, and another year to get better for our team for what we were last year. And that's kind of what, I'm thinking in my head, and what I'm trying to preach is, it's one day at a time, 1 week at a time, one game at a time. If we can do that, we're going to be a really good team.
Dude, I'm so greedy. One last thing. If it's me versus me, Buddha, do you ever lose, or do you win every single day if it's me versus me?
I mean, there's, of course, you not really lose is kind of maybe a loss. Not really a lose, but like a loss of game. Like there'll be those days where I'm sore and I don't really want to get that lift in. I don't really want to do those things, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to do it to a high extent. But there are times where it's like, man, like I didn't do good enough today. I gotta do better tomorrow. Situations like that. So, that's the thought process each and every day, and of course, you want to be perfect day in and day out, but a lot of this world isn't perfect. So of course you're gonna have your setbacks, but it's all about if you're gonna get back up and see what you can do the next day and get better the next day and be great the next day, and that's the mentality.
My man, thanks for letting us in. I really appreciate you sharing that mindset. He's a 2-time All-Pro, a 3-time Pro Bowler, just 25. Buddha, much respect. I appreciate you. Great having you on. Thanks so much.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me on, Jim. Have a good one.
You too, Buddha. Take care. Be good. Such a stud, man. A stud. The complete package. Mentally, physically, emotionally. I just love this guy and everything about him.
The world moves pretty fast. 1 minute you're standing, the next you're dragging. How can you keep up? I'll tell you. I'm Ira Madison III, host of Keep It. Each week, Louis Vertel, Aida Osman, and I do the hard work of exploring the intersection between entertainment, culture, and politics, with guests like Billy Porter, Catherine O'Hara, Ronan Farrow, Francesca Ramsey, and more. New episodes of Keep It drop every Wednesday. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.